Hi, this is James again, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And if you would, please hit my Cash App. Bless my Cash App so I can get more acrylic paint, masking tape, and paintbrushes. It's for my art, okay? Well, this one is called When I Was Your Age. Yes, man. Look, remember when people used to tell you, when I was your age, look, it's different from generation to generation, Different generations would say different things. Like older people would tell me, they would always tell me, they said, look, I walked 3 miles to school. I always listened to my parents, I played outside. I ate what I was told. I got a job when I was 10 years old. I got a job, but it's, you can't keep up with the last generation because things were a little more wholesome then. Every time you go back, things are a little more wholesome, and it's a little more manageable, with the economy nowadays, you can't do a lot of things that they used to do. You can't get a good job and hold it for a long time. You can't get a house when you want it. You know how much houses cost now? They was like, when I was your age, I got a house when I was your age. And everybody, and I got married. I got married when I was 17, 16 years old. And I took care of my family. You can't keep up with that. You can't keep up with that. When I was young, things were good then, but they wasn't better than my father's time, back in my father's time, or my grandfather's time. They used to can get a house like for $200-300, just get a house built, So you can't, the economy is not like that now. It's not that friendly to us. And with the economy rising up, our pay is staying the same, So you can't do that, You can get close to it. Maybe you can if you save enough and work enough. If you're dedicated enough, you can get that, But back then, you really didn't have to have no effort to it. You can get you a house or something. You can get you an apartment to stay in. You can have a job. You can keep food in the refrigerator. You can keep all of that because your bills wasn't high or nothing like that. Yeah, they said I had to do all the chores in the house and had to do the dishes and the household chores and stuff like that. I had to do everything. What kid do you know now will adhere to that? Because they wasn't really doing it that much when I was a kid, but they got their butt beat. Yes, you got beat when I was younger, So if you talk back or did refuse to do something, they beat you into submission. Nowadays, they talk to kids. Matter of fact, nowadays they're on their kids' level. They're on a child's level. because they trying to come up with the child. They trying to do things that the child do, you know. I don't understand it, you know, but that's my generation. So I'm not supposed to really understand a kid's generation, you know, or somebody that's 20 years old. They generation. Because, you know, I was brought up in a different time, you know. You know, they talk about like the teachers. We used to listen to the teachers. Back in the day, they really listened to the teachers. They did what the teacher said because the teacher had the right to paddle them. And they paddled us too. You know? So nowadays, no one can touch a teacher. A teacher can't touch a child, you know. They can't paddle them. They can't take a ruler and spank their hand and stuff like that. You know, because they'll get in trouble, you know. They will get in trouble, you know. So it tripped me out though when people say that. They say, man, when I was your age, it's like when older people come to me and I talk to them, they say, well, you got your house yet? Yeah. Man, did you get that fixed in your house yet? No, I didn't get it changed. Man, when I was your age, I would have my house built from the ground up. And everything that get messed up on it, I get it repaired right then and there. You know? Can't do that. Maybe you can, but trust me, you're going to be probably broke after that, you know? So we got to maintain, you know. You got to have food on the table. You got to pay your utilities, you know. More so now than then. Maybe they had to pay a light bill, maybe a gas bill, and that's it. We got lights, gas, telephones, cell phones, cable, internet, all of this, Wi-Fi. We got all of this to pay. And you accumulate more, you know. You really accumulate more. But kids nowadays, they don't go outside. They really don't go out and play. You don't see. I used to could hear kids outside playing and stuff like that. Not anymore. Not anymore. They have internet. They have the game system that they play. You know, so who wants to go outside when they got so much stuff to inside, you know? They can play a game forever, you know? So the thing is, man, you can't fault nobody for being the way they are, you know? It's a generational thing, you know? People do different things, you know? So you can try to let them come to do things the way they used to. You know, you can talk to them like, hey, you're going to clean up, you're going to do your chores, you're going to do your homework first. Then go out. You know, like people don't eat at the table no more. Like whole families used to sit at the table. They used to pray together and then eat. And they would talk at the table. No more. No more. They take their plate and they go in their room. You know? So it's not like that anymore. I hate it's like that, you know, because I loved sitting at the table, the whole family at the table. They eat at one time, you know. That was kind of cool, you know. But it's crazy, but people will try to throw their generation on you, you know. So I've had it done to me many times, you know. And I be telling them, look, there's a new way to do it now. It's new way. No, I'd rather do mine the old way. I'd rather do it the old way. Okay. Well, man, I'd rather do it the old way. But nowadays, there's different things. Nowadays, I tell them, I said, look, all you have to do is go to YouTube and they can show you step by step how to do that. No, I'd rather do it the old way. And I tell them, say, look on your phone. You should have it on your internet, on your phone. Say, no, I don't have that stuff. I said, yes, you do. Tell them, click on this, click on this, click on this. And they click on that, and then they get online, you know. And they didn't even, the older people didn't even know they can get online on their phone. You know, because they stuck in the old ways, you know, of doing things, you know. They'd rather get a book from somewhere, you know, and look at a book and try to learn from that, you know. But I don't know. Well, you guys, I got to get ready to get off of here. I've got a lot of stuff to take care of, you know. When I was your age, I didn't have stuff to take care of. I just did it. Yeah. All right, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share. Share my videos with everyone. Share them with your family. Share them with your friends. Share them with your loved ones. Okay? Even share them with your enemies. All right, y'all. Peace. Adios. Salamat.